Hello Virgo, this is your extended reading. So I have to ask you a question to begin this reading, and I feel like this is, initiating this extended with this proposition in a sense. So Virgo, are you ready to see what hasn't been seen for a long time? And so there is a little bit of this seeing the unseen, but this unseen feels like something that it's like you already know about it, or you have seen it at some point, and maybe you don't remember, or you don't want to remember, actively you don't want to remember, and it's time to see it once again. And it can be much more magical, I feel, than you are anticipating, because I feel like that it's almost like you have put so many things at the back of your mind, trying to shut down things that were heavy on you, and by doing so it's like you have been unconsciously also giving up the kind of life that you imagine yourself living, right? As a kid. So we begin with the magician. So this magician was carrying this information of seeing the unseen, but it felt so respectful and so understanding that it almost felt like there was like the voice of an angel, really, or the voice of some sort of very loving guide, right? Like the personification of, a mother as, a spirit being. And it doesn't have to be a mother, it's just the way that it came through as very respectful and very kind, right? It's almost like there is something that has to be seen, that it's not that it's going to be easy, Virgo, but it can be more magical than you are anticipating, or it can be more enchanting. It's what I'm hearing right now, right? It's almost like if you are anticipating that you are going to open this can of worms that will bring only disgusting memories, I feel like you can see miracles happen. Wow, that is so gorgeous. That's interesting, because I was only feeling like the lower part of the vibration, almost like your side of this, Virgo. But now that, just this phrase came to me, right? See miracles happen. It's almost like it's like this respectful, loving figure, right? That is coming through as the magician. It's like they know they're going to be by your side when the coping mechanisms that you used to know and that used to work are not serving you anymore. It's almost like they are going to be there to give you the support that you need, even though I don't feel like it's a person. I feel like this is some sort of energetic field, right? It's just this trust, right? Didn't it say something about trusting that the warmth, it's going to be there, right? It's like if you have been, or if you have been trying to hold these memories tucked under this very dark place, right? It's almost like you have been there to just keep them in their place, right? To keep them shut. And you yourself maybe haven't even seen the sun for a long time, right? And that could have been like, the hard work that you were putting just to avoid having to deal with the things that you remember and that you didn't want to remember, right? So finding that it's not only the memories that want to breathe again, it's like you too, right? And in knowing that that could be the case, it's almost like this magician, or whoever they represent for you, Virgo, is like they know that you're capable of handling this, first of all, but most of all is like they know that you can be surprised in a very positive way, right? But way that they're coming through so respectfully is because they also see who you are, in a sense, or like the growth process that you had, in a way that, you know, the maybe very quick maturity process, right? Growing from the Page into the Queen of Cups, that really left this very, you know, very sensitive shell of a heart, right? And trying to keep it untouched, in a sense. So here we have the Knight of Cups, which is you, Virgo, the Four of Cups, and the Nine of Wands. So this is almost, okay, so this is like a timeline for you, right? You as a very young kid, you know, maybe perhaps before you were 7 years old, and this is you now, this Queen of Cups, you know, maybe, you know, 40, 30, 40, 50, 60 year olds. It doesn't matter like your age, but this is now your present moment. And here, this Knight of Cups is, it's almost like this magician is, it's like by hearing them tell your life story, it's like you are looking back to your life story, to this process of growing up, that maybe you didn't even remember the details because you were so focused in keeping these memories shut, that perhaps, you know, there are things and experiences that you have that you just went through that you just don't remember because they were, you know, being stocked at the back of your mind. And so by hearing this other person tell your life story, it's very remarkable and very, it's like you feel their support, you feel their respect for your story, you feel their respect and their love and their care for you, right? It's like they really mean it when they say that they are going to be there while you're opening this can of worms or this Pandora's box, right? That maybe you do anticipate what is there because you're the one who put them there, right? That you put the things there, but maybe you don't know everything that grew around it. Because this is what I'm seeing with the Four of Cups and the Nine of Wands. It's like the things that you do know, right, that are in this very established container, right? The four to me always brings this idea of structure and something that is very firm and that holds like this very I was going to say like a very rigid ground, but the way that it came through is like a very neat background. So yeah, neat background. So this Four of Cups in a way is like it's the part that you remember from growing up, right? It's like the story that you are trying to avoid, that you're trying to keep shut in this container in the back of your memory. Remember, like the knight is facing this way, so here is like everything that is behind him is, you know, being shoved to the unconscious, right? And I feel like very consciously doing so, right? It's like you have purposefully put these things in the back of your mind, not to look at them or not to speak about them or not to have to deal with them or at least have to face them, right? And so these are the emotions that have been shut down, you know, by you, very consciously by you. But this Nine of Wands is talking about all of the you know, the image that I'm getting right now is like, you know, all of, you know, an old house, an old room that hasn't been visited or cleaned or opened in so long that when you find it many years after that, it's like there has been like all of these you know, plants that have grown over, you know, the doors and, you know, the walls. I often think of an image that I remember from college when I used to study architecture back in school, and I remember studying the abandoned cities from chemical disasters and Chernobyl was one of the cities that I've studied, and I remember how, nature was taking back what, the humans left as, a basic structure that was no longer being managed by humans. So nature was invading, the buildings in a sense. And in a way, that was being romanticized in back in school, in a way that, nature has its power over humans, that if we as humans don't keep up with the job of keeping it neat and organized, right, and polished, it's like nature will eventually take over again. And this is what I'm seeing with the Nine of Wands. It's almost like all of these branches of, but it's not coming through as like the beauty of nature or the power of nature. It's coming through as something that is entangling or is holding these things, right? It's like these very, very rigid roots or very rigid branches that are really blocking your emotions, right, Virgo? I don't know if you're able to feel the image that I'm receiving, from this abandoned building being taken over by the trees, by nature. And it's not something that is pleasant, or it's not something that you are able to live with, right? At least not a human experience, right? So this is what I feel like you have been very arduously, is that a word? It's like very, it's like you have been working nonstop in trying to keep something alive in you that resembles, this human experience that you're here to experience. But because these roots or these thing, it's almost like I'm seeing, the Snow White movie, the motion picture, the first one, the original one, where all of her sights or all of her fears were, showing the very tricky and sneaky side of the trees at night, right? So that's the kind of perception that you are having from having to deal with these kinds of memories, right? So here with this Four of Wands, followed by two pentacles, right? The Ten of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. If we think of the traditional meaning of these two cards, of these three cards, actually, they are very happy and uplifting and fair and balanced and harmonious and just joyful and celebratory and all of those kinds of things, right? So this is the miracle that I feel like you are not anticipating, right? It's almost like in shutting down all of these emotions, right? It's almost like you have had emotions that you put into a container, and all of these roots have grown around it, and now it's almost like now they have taken over, right? This Four of Wands is like when this Nine of Wands, which is, a very heavy energy, especially today, is coming through as like all of the fears that you see in nature, right? It's like nature is taking over, and that could be a beautiful thing, and that could be like the power of nature overtaking you in a magical kind of way that will surprise you, that will bring all of the miracles, right? And that you are seeing as a very detrimental kind of thing, right? It's the distinguishment of, the kind of invasion that you're feeling from this natural thing, the natural way that your memories want to find this fresh air, the fresh light of the sun, right? It's like you were trying to row against the current in a way. And that is too much work. That is a full-time job that it's like this has already taken place, right? It's like the relationship between the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles has already happened, has already crystallized. Only the temperature of the sun and the power of the magician in retelling and revisiting your story from this outside perspective is capable of melting down the crystals, right? And freeing the bubbles of air that are kept inside, that were kept inside. And so these crystallized ideas of, you know, the Ten of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles, you know, having somebody that can be there for you or can be there with you, right? If we think of the Ten of Pentacles, especially being the Two Pentacles here inside, it's like you have the sense that you are doing all of this work on your own, and all of the emotions that you were trying to keep shut inside your brain that now have been like magically been embraced by nature in a sense. It's like they are going to revamp or redefine what you have been trying to avoid, right? And so there is a little bit of a paradox here. It's like trusting in the power of nature, but also letting go of the fear of nature. Because I feel like that is the change that is going to bring all of the things that you desired, that you were afraid, or even, you know, or even if you were afraid to admit to yourself that you wished all of all of these things, right? The balance, the happy family, the joyful and celebratory kind of marriage, or you know, just workplace or whatever it is. It's like these three cards are encompassing your dream life. And so by letting the nature take over you, it's like you will let go of carrying the burden that can be shared with the natural landscape, which is coming through as like, you know, the fairies that hide under bushes or hide, you know, among the roots of the trees. It's like, let the magical beings of nature take over and restructure and redefine something that has been crystallized, or something that you have thought that could never change, right? Because, you know, if this is something that has permeated your growing up, right? It's like now being the Queen of Cups, maybe you think or maybe you feel that your time has passed, right? Your opportunity to do things differently has passed. But from the cards, it's like, especially ending with this beautiful card being the World, it's like your world can still change, Virgo. You can still shape your world and manifest your world without those crystallized fears, right? It's just like this tuning into a new frequency, to a new temperature, and letting the magical creatures of nature help you, right? Let them overtake something that you were trying to carry on your own. Because I feel like there is something that is potentially very big and very daunting to you, maybe, but allow nature to help you. Allow these magical creatures to show themselves to you instead of fearing them. And let them be the company that you need to be the companions that you need to face these very sensitive memories, right, that are already wanting to resurface. So it's like this extended especially is talking about like really receive the help from these magical natural creatures, because I feel like they are going to reshape the way that you see things that felt already dealt with or lost. So Let's see what the astrological runes have to add as a final guidance. Okay. That's interesting. So the rune that came through is Saturn, and usually Saturn is like a very hard planet to deal with. It usually brings, you know, karma and all that stuff that we have to deal as humans, but things that are there for the purpose of strengthening us and making us feel like we can overcome, you know, the most impossible tasks, or, you know, just feel like, yes, we are capable of more, right? And Saturn is like the professor in a sense. It's a little bit like this respectful figure, although this one felt a little bit more loving, whereas Saturn is much more strict, right? But the message actually that I heard with this rune when I picked it up was, it's never too late, Virgo. It's never too late. Like, time, it's just perspective, right? So it's not because you have already grown up or became an adult, or, you know, how old you are. It doesn't matter. Like, it's always time to reshape your reality, to reshape and recreate the world that you wish to create. So Virgo, I hope this was helpful and insightful to you. If you resonate with this, if this is going on with you, I hope it helped in some way. So thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.